October 3rd, 6:14 p.m. I was sitting in my home office. Three-bedroom house in a quiet suburb. Mortgage paid down to $120,000. Wife in the kitchen making meatloaf. Kids doing homework upstairs. I was a senior accountant. $112,000 a year. Not rich. Not poor. Comfortable. My net worth was around $850,000. Spread out the right way. $400,000 in index funds. $150,000 in bonds. $180,000 in tech stocks I bought years ago. And one rental property that cleared $800 a month after expenses. I had a 401k, a college fund for both kids, a wife who loved me, a life that was boring and good. Then my dad died. Heart attack. 67 years old. I got the call at 2:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. My mom was already gone. He was alone in his apartment for 3 days before anyone found him. I flew to Florida for the funeral. Small service. 11 people. The lawyer handed me an envelope after. My dad wasn't rich. He worked at a shipping company for 40 years. Drove a 2008 Camry. Never went on vacation. But he saved. Every month. For 40 years. The inheritance was $3.7 million. I sat in my rental car and stared at the number. Read it 14 times. My hands were shaking. I called my wife. Told her. She didn't believe me. I sent her a screenshot. She started crying. We talked about what to do. The smart thing. The boring thing. Pay off the house. Put the rest in index funds. Retire early. Help the kids with college. Take a nice vacation. That was the plan. Then I read something on Reddit. Wall Street bets. I had heard about it before. Memes. Losses. Gains. People betting their whole lives on options that expired in 3 days. I started reading at 11 p.m. Stopped at 4 a.m. The posts were electric. Someone turned $5,000 into $800,000. Someone else lost $2 million in a week. They posted loss porn, game porn. They talked about tendies and rockets and diamond hands. I told myself I was just curious. I wasn't going to gamble. I was an accountant. I knew better. But I kept reading. The next day, I opened a brokerage account. Not the one with my index funds. A new one. Just for fun. I put in $5,000. Money I could afford to lose. I bought my first option. Calls on a tech stock. $350. Expired in 2 weeks. I checked the price 47 times the first day. The second day, it went up. $350 became $620. I sold. Profit, $270. I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Excitement. Real excitement. Not the kind from a good performance review or a kid's soccer game. The kind that makes your heart pound. I told my wife I made $270. She said, "That's nice, don't get carried away." I said I won't. That was a lie. The next week, I put in $20,000. Bought options on a semiconductor company. $18,000 worth. Held for 4 days. Sold for $31,000. Profit, $13,000 in 4 days. My salary was $112,000 a year. That's $2,150 a week. I just made 6 weeks of salary in 4 days. I didn't tell my wife about this one. I put in $50,000. Bought calls on a meme stock. Up 40% in 2 days. I was up $20,000. I didn't sell. I wanted more. Then it dropped. 40% became 10%. Became minus 10%. I sold at a loss. Lost $8,000. But I didn't feel the loss. I felt the need to get it back. That's the trap. I put in $100,000. This time, I bought puts, betting against a company. The stock went down. I made $40,000 in 3 hours. I was addicted. I stopped checking my work email at night. Stopped helping with homework. Stopped eating dinner at the table. I sat in my office with 2 screens. One for work. One for options. My wife asked what I was doing. I said, managing the inheritance. She said, I thought we were buying a house. I said we will. Just making some extra money first. She looked at me. Didn't say anything. Walked away. By month 2, I had turned the $3.7 million inheritance into $4.9 million. I was up $1.2 million. I felt invincible. I started buying bigger positions. $200,000. $300,000. $500,000. All on options. All on margin. My accountant brain knew this was stupid, but the gambler brain was louder. I told myself I was different. I understood risk. I knew when to cut losses. I didn't. One trade. Earnings play on a tech giant. I bought $600,000 in calls. The stock reported, beat earnings, but the guidance was weak. The stock dropped 4% after hours. My $600,000 became $180,000 overnight. I lost $420,000 in 8 hours. I didn't sleep, didn't eat, just stared at the screen. The next morning, I tried to get it back. Bought more calls. Lost another $200,000. My inheritance was down to $3.1 million. I had lost $600,000 in 2 days. Any normal person would have stopped, would have closed the account, would have bought the house, would have hugged their wife and said, "I'm sorry. I am not a normal person." I doubled down. $1 million on calls. High risk, high reward. The stock went up. I made back $400,000. Then it went down. I lost $700,000. My inheritance was $2.4 million, down $1.3 million from the peak. I started hiding things. Opened a second brokerage account so my wife wouldn't see the statements. Told her I was rebalancing. She asked why I looked tired. I said work. I stopped going into the office. Told my boss I was working remote. Sat in my home office from 6 a.m. to midnight. Watching charts. Placing trades. Losing. At month 4, I had $1.8 million left. I had lost $1.9 million of the inheritance. I couldn't stop because stopping meant admitting I had lost almost $2 million. And I couldn't admit that. Not to my wife. Not to myself. So I kept going. I sold $200,000 of my index funds. Put it in the brokerage account. Lost $150,000 in 3 weeks. I sold my bonds. Lost $80,000. I sold my tech stocks. Lost $120,000. My original $850,000 portfolio was gone. Every dollar. Liquidated. Fed to the market. I had $600,000 left. All from the inheritance. Everything else was zero. I told my wife we had some losses. She asked how much. I said a couple $100,000. She cried. I held her. She said, "Please stop." I said, "I will." I didn't. I took the $600,000 and put it all on one trade. Calls on a biotech company with FDA approval pending. The approval came. Stock went up 200% pre-market. I was up $1.2 million. I didn't sell. I wanted more. The stock opened. Traders sold the news. It dropped 40% in 20 minutes. I lost everything. $600,000 to zero. I sat in my office. 10:14 a.m. 2 screens. Empty account. $0. I didn't move for 2 hours. My wife came in. Asked if I was okay. I said I lost it all. She said, "What do you mean?" I said, "The money. It's gone." She thought I meant a couple $100,000. I showed her the account. $0. She asked where the inheritance was. I said gone. She asked where our savings were. I said gone. She asked where the college funds were. I said gone. She didn't scream. Didn't cry. Just stood there. Then she walked out. I heard the bedroom door close. Then I heard her crying. Not loud. Quiet. The kind of crying that means something inside her broke. I didn't follow her. I couldn't. That night, I slept on the couch. Didn't close my eyes until 5 a.m. Woke up at 7. My wife was gone. Took the kids to school. Didn't leave a note. I sat at the kitchen table. Empty house. Sun coming through the blinds. I could hear a dog barking somewhere. And I made a decision. A stupid one. I was going to get it back. Not with skill. Not with strategy. I had proven I had neither. I was going to get it back with debt. First, I took a loan from my 401k. $150,000. Max allowed. The paperwork took 3 days. I lied on the form. Said it was for a primary residence purchase. Not a lie. The house was my primary residence. But I wasn't buying it. I was gambling it. The money hit my bank account on a Thursday. I transferred it to the brokerage account. Bought options on a software company. Earnings were coming. I bet big. $140,000 on calls. The stock reported. Beat earnings. Raised guidance. Stock went up 11%. My options doubled. I had $280,000. I didn't sell. The next day, the stock gave back 6%. My options went to $210,000. I sold. Profit, $70,000. Not enough. Not nearly enough. I needed a grand slam. Second loan. Personal loan from a bank. $80,000. Interest rate 11.4%. I didn't care. I signed the papers in 20 minutes. The teller asked what it was for. I said home renovation. She smiled. I didn't. Transferred the $80,000, combined with the remaining $210,000. Total, $290,000. I found a stock, a biotech. Phase 3 trial results coming out on a Monday. I bought calls, $290,000 worth. All in. Sunday night, I didn't sleep. Paced the living room. My wife asked what was wrong. I said work project. She went back to bed. Monday morning, 6:30 a.m. Results were good. Very good. The stock was up 180% pre-market. My $290,000 was worth $780,000. I didn't sell. I told myself I would sell at market open. Lock in the profit. Get back to $1 million. Then stop. Market opened. The stock jumped another 40% in the first minute. My $780,000 became $1.09 million. I was back. I had done it. I didn't sell. I wanted more. $1.5 million. Then I'd sell. The stock started dropping. Profit takers. 40% gain became 25%. My $1.09 million became $850,000. Then $720,000. Then $610,000. I sold at $580,000. Profit from the trade, $290,000. I had $580,000 total. Better than zero. But I was still down over $3 million from the inheritance. Still broke. Still lying. I didn't stop. Third loan. Home equity line of credit. The house was paid down to $120,000. I took out $200,000 in equity. My wife signed the papers because I told her it was for roof repairs and new windows. She didn't ask questions. She trusted me. I hated myself. But I transferred the money anyway. $580,000 plus $200,000 equals $780,000. I found a meme stock. The kind that moves 50% in a day for no reason. I bought calls. $780,000. All of it. The stock went up 30% in 2 hours. My $780,000 became $1.6 million. I was up. I was alive. I was back. I didn't sell. The stock kept going. 40%. 50%. My account hit $2.1 million. I was crying. Literally crying at my desk. I had done it. I had climbed out of hell. I didn't sell. The stock topped. Started falling. 50% gain became 40%. Became 30%. Became 10%. My $2.1 million became $1.4 million. Became $900,000. Became $600,000. I sold at $580,000. Again, right back where I started. That's when I lost my mind. Not metaphorically. Actually, I stopped eating. Stopped sleeping. Stopped talking to my wife. Stopped answering my phone. My boss called 3 times. I didn't pick up. I sat in my office. 3 a.m. Screens glowing. Account balance. $580,000. And I prayed. I'm not religious. Never was. My dad took me to church on Christmas and Easter. That was it. But that night, I got on my knees. On the carpet in my home office. Put my hands together. Closed my eyes. I said, God, please. Just one more trade. Let me win one more trade. I'll stop. I'll give half to charity. I'll be a good person. Please. Just give me this. Nothing happened. I prayed again. Louder. Please. Nothing. I stayed on my knees for an hour. Then 2. Then 3. At 6 a.m., I made a new decision. I was going to fast. 7 days. No food. Just water. I was going to pray every day. Isolate myself. Show God I was serious. I told my wife I was going on a work retreat. She didn't believe me. I didn't care. I drove to a cheap motel. $49 a night. Room 12. 1 bed. 1 window. 1 Bible in the drawer. I turned off my phone. Opened the Bible. Started reading. I didn't know where. Just opened it. Psalms. Something about forgiveness. Day 1. No food. Just water. I prayed every hour. God, let me win. Let me get it back. I'll be good. I promise. By day 3, I was weak. My head hurt. My stomach cramped. I weighed myself on the motel scale. 187 pounds. I started at 205. I kept praying. Day 4. Hallucinations. Not really, but close. I saw my dad in the corner of the room. He was wearing his work shirt, the one from the shipping company. He looked at me, didn't say anything, just shook his head. I screamed at him. You don't understand. I can get it back. He disappeared. Day 5. I weighed 174 pounds. Lost 31 pounds in 5 days. My ribs were showing. I couldn't stand for more than a few minutes. I crawled to the bathroom. I prayed louder. God, if you let me win this trade, I will never gamble again. I will sell everything. I will give my wife the money. I will be a good father. Just one more. Day 6. Nothing. Day 7. I broke the fast. Ate a sandwich from a gas station. Threw it up. Ate another one. Kept it down. I weighed 170 pounds. Lost 35 pounds in 7 days. I drove home. My wife wasn't there. Kids weren't there. A note on the fridge. I took them to my mom's. Call me when you're ready to tell me the truth. I didn't call. I opened my laptop. Account balance, $580,000. I had borrowed $150,000 from 401k, $80,000 personal loan, $200,000 HELOC. Plus I had borrowed $50,000 from my brother. Told him it was for a business opportunity. Total debt from loans, $480,000. My total cash to trade was $580,000. I was going to put it all on one trade. One stock, one option, one expiration, one chance. I found it. A small tech company. Earnings in 2 days. The whisper numbers were bad. Everyone expected a miss. I bought puts, betting the stock would crash. $580,000. All of it. One click. I didn't pray this time. I just watched. Day 1. Stock flat. My options lost $40,000 from time decay. I didn't care. Day 2. Earnings at 4 p.m. I sat at my desk. Heart pounding. Hands shaking. The clock hit 4 o'clock. The report came out. The company beat earnings. By a lot. Raised guidance. The stock jumped 25% after hours. My $580,000 became $120,000 in 10 minutes. I stared at the screen. Didn't move. Didn't blink. The stock kept going. Up 30%. My options were worth $80,000. Then $50,000. Then $22,000. By market open the next day, my account balance was $0. Everything was gone. The $580,000. The inheritance. The 401k loan. The personal loan. The HELOC. My brother's $50,000. My savings. My stocks. My bonds. My rental property. I had sold it 2 months earlier without telling anyone. Everything. I sat in my office. 9:14 a.m. $0. My wife came home at 6 p.m. Found me in the same chair. Same clothes. Same empty stare. She said, I'm leaving you. I said, I know. She said, I'm taking the kids. I said, you should. She said, what happened to the money? I said, it's gone. All of it. She asked how much debt. I told her. $420,000 after paying back my brother with the last scraps. She didn't react. Just nodded. Walked to the bedroom. Started packing. I didn't move. 3 months later, the divorce was final. She got the house. Got the kids. Got the car. Got everything. I got $420,000 in debt and a small apartment with plastic on the windows. The heat didn't work in the winter. My landlord's name was Mr. Chun. He asked why I looked so sad. I said I made bad choices. He said, everyone makes bad choices. I said, not like mine. I lost my job. My boss found out what I did. He was an accountant too. He said, you know better. I said, I know. He said, I have to let you go. I said, I know. I filed for bankruptcy. Didn't clear the debt. Some of it was student loans from years ago. Some of it was the HELOC. The judge said I had to pay back $280,000. I make $12 an hour now at a warehouse. I send $400 a month to the court. I'll be done when I'm 67. My dad's money? Gone. My family? Gone. My health? I weigh 165 now. Can't gain it back. Can't sleep. Can't look in the mirror. I see my kids once a month. They don't ask about money anymore. They ask why I live in a small apartment. I say because I made mistakes. They don't understand. They're kids. They shouldn't have to. My ex-wife doesn't talk to me. Not out of anger. Out of sadness. She sends me pictures of the kids sometimes. I save every one. I still check the market. Every day? Not trading. Just watching. Because part of me still believes I could get it back. But I can't. There's no money left. No credit left. No trust left. No God left. I prayed for 7 days. Lost 35 pounds. Got nothing. My dad left me $3.7 million. A lifetime of saving, of skipping vacations, of driving a Camry for 15 years. It took me 8 months to lose it all, then 4 more months to lose everything else. Now I'm 44 years old, sleeping on a mattress on the floor, $280,000 in debt, 165 pounds, alone. Only then did I remember the saying, a fool and his money are soon parted.